with 1-0 in conference play. Welcome in. We're underway at Carmichael Arena. Pitt will try the right side and the cross-court kill right out of the gate. Valeria Vasquez-Gomez, the redshirt senior, getting Pitt on the board.
Well, and it started with a pretty good pass. I mean, you're going to have to really stretch the serve-receive pressure if you're North Carolina to get Pitt out of system as much as possible. And even then, they're going to be difficult task to defend, but that's got to start with service pressure.
Right side swing there for Romani Thurman, one of the freshmen, has been making her name known for North Carolina, but Pitt with their second straight point to start this match.
Yep, and who else gets that kill? We're talking about Tori Stafford, the amazing freshman going high hands there. We'll see if North Carolina can continue to pass the ball well like they did Friday night and have all their offensive options available.
Stafford coming into today with 117 kills, so now 118 on the season, just over 3 kills per set. And speaking of kills, how about Amani Foster getting Carolina on the board?
Well, you talk about their middle offense and just, getting up, taking care of overpasses, all those little opportunities, joust at the net that might come your way. That's going to favor the team who's probably going to win, is who's going to clean up those little plays in between.
Double hit contact going to be called against Maddie May, the libero for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, she wants that one back. Sometimes you see the court, the eyes get big, you want to set it over in 2 and score, and I'm sure she wants that one back.
May, a sophomore from D.H. Conley High School here in North Carolina. She was kind of thrust into that libero role last year as a freshman and has done a great job defensively for the Tar Heels only as a sophomore. It's a lot of youth on this team for Carolina. We mentioned the freshmen for Pitt. They've been leading the way. And North Carolina and first-year head coach Mike Shaw, they have a lot of freshmen that they've been turning to here in 2023 as well.
Yeah, and it's great learning opportunities for the youngsters. They're in this spot for the first time. They're getting exposed to this high-level ACC play, and we'll see if they can calm their nerves and just continue to execute.
Nice pancake there by the Pitt defense. Off the block attempt, Tori Stafford racking up another kill, and it's a 5-1 start for Pitt.
And so far, Stafford has just been amazing how she's testing the block. She's very smart and efficient in her swings. We saw the high hand tool earlier, and then we saw the wipe shot on the outside hand there.
On Friday, in their 3-set win against Duke, Stafford led the way for the Panthers with 15 kills. Hit .333. Sadie Swift with the free ball kill. We're going to get to her throughout this match as well this afternoon, Corey, because Sadie Swift and Coach Mike Shaw, when we got to talk with him earlier this week, had a lot of great things to say about this sophomore, what she has done and accomplished here in 2023.
Well, and so far what's standing out is her contributions at the net as a blocker. She led the team in blocks Friday night against the sweep against Virginia. And she just reads extremely well. She anticipates. If you watch her as a blocker, she just has really good technique. And they're going to need her to have some good net presence tonight.
Coach Shaw has been very impressed with Sadie Swift and what she's been able to do in the middle. And he doesn't shy away from it. We've talked about it during our broadcast throughout the season. And he mentions it just about every time we have a Zoom call with him, getting ready for a weekend of broadcast. But Coach Shaw in his first year, taking over for Joe Segula, and we always ask him, like, how's the team in your eyes? And just about every week he's mentioning how we are a work in progress. We're a work in progress. We're constantly working on ourselves. And I know you being a former coach, you can attest to that. When, going back to your first year as a head coach, a little nerves, but, you work with what you got.
Oh, for sure. I think anytime you're taking over a program, whether you've been there, which is a different dynamic, you've been on staff, so you're familiar with the players and the university, the environment, or if you're coming into a new position, on the whole. In both cases, you're trying to establish your culture, right? And you're trying to get your specific message across to your team so the team can be together in that message. And I think Coach Shaw is well on his way to getting that established. It's a tough conference that he is in. We're going to get another look at that kill. It went off of Imani Foster's shoulder. Yeah, that's one of those. Trying to get out of the way, I couldn't quite make that matrix move, but we touched on at the beginning, Rob, that both of these teams hit at a high clip on Friday, so both teams are very capable offensively. This match is really going to come down to who plays better defense, who can slow down the arms of the other team and limit those scoring opportunities. And, you see us kind of going back and forth right now. I think that's one thing we're going to have to track as the match goes on. And a big part of that is net play and blocking, which would favor Pitt coming in, but Carolina's at home. They have a lot of confidence from Friday night's sweep. We'll see what the Tar Heels bring from the blocking standpoint.
It's an intriguing matchup because obviously you might look at that number 8 ranking next to Pitt. And in the past, Pitt has had their way with North Carolina. They've been dominating. It's been Pitt and Louisville the last, 5-6 years in the ACC, maybe even more than that. But with North Carolina going into this match, they know the Panthers really good at blocking, one of the best in the country. But with North Carolina, they're up there in a couple of categories, including their serving. And that's going to play a role here today as well, is both teams are really good at the serving game and trying to make their opponent uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that's the first step of defense. If you want to play tough defense, the first step is you have to serve tough, right? If you can bring that service pressure, it makes things so much easier on your defense, particularly your blockers. And so, that focus behind the service line is huge. Back to the bigger point, Rob, is, if you're North Carolina, this is a great moment right now to try to make a statement. Everyone knows that Pitt is a premier program. They've been to the Final Four. They've been at that higher level the last few years. This is at home. You're coming off of a sweep on Friday night. A little, got your feet wet into ACC play, particularly for the new folks. Can we take another step forward against a quality opponent?
9-7 your score here in set 1. It was a 5-1 start for Pitt.
Boy, really good serve and even better pass.
Oh, what a great decision there. Schaffmaster going across court. What an angle to get that kill.
Wow, she just does some amazing things in her prep. I mean, you watch her shoulders here where she's kind of selling the line shot, but then she goes wrist away, thumb down. If you're a blocker, you might overreach and create that alley or that seam for her to hit into, and she can take advantage.
Free ball and putting it down. Kaya Merkler. We are tied at 9.
Boy, and already in this small sample size, you're seeing the first contact for Pitt not being that great. I think, we've got 3 points scored off of overpass kills for Carolina. So if you're a Pitt fan, you want to take care of that ball in the first contact a little better.
Trying to go down the line with it was Olivia Babcock. Shanked a little wide left, and the Tar Heels take a 10-9 lead.
Yep, aggressive swing by Babcock there. She was second on the team in kills Friday night in their win over Duke. She's definitely somebody that they want to keep going offensively. Looks like she just missed her line shot.
Another line drive serve by Schaffmaster. Pitt will get it over. Kaya Merkler, another kill.
Boy, and you go back and dissect that point, Robin. If you can't get a full quality swing on the ball, then you're going to make it easier for the other team to be in transition offense. And we saw that right there.
Tar Heels up by 2. Timeout, Pitt. We'll be back. 4-0 run for the Tar Heels. They lead by 2, and they force Coach Dan Fisher to take an early timeout here in set number 1.
Yeah, and so far, Pitt is, just a little off kilter on that first contact. We mentioned they had a few overpass digs that Carolina took advantage of, and, they didn't have a great setter-hitter connection on that last run in the middle, and that led to an easy transition offense opportunity for North Carolina. So if Pitt can't get quality swings at the Carolina defense, you're going to make it easier for Carolina to transition score, and that's going to really fuel them. And of course, Carolina, if you're the Tar Heels, you'll take it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll take those all we can get. But
especially when you're talking about big, full attack and swings from freshmen like Tori Stafford and Olivia Babcock.
For sure. There's Thurman.
Romani Thurman saying, wait. What about this freshman right here?
Yep. A really great swing there. Her first opportunity was a little bit of a tight set. So, Babcock doing a better job keeping her off the net, seeing the outside hand, being aggressive. Great swing by Romani.
Dug up by Babic. Here's Imani.
Ball got a little bit too far across her shoulder.
Off of May, Schaffmaster trying to get it back in play. Free ball, and it was touched. And credit the kill for Pitt. That'll make it 12-11.
Yep. I'm sure Schaffmaster would like that second contact back. Just kind of a little bit of a wild swing there on her pursuit.
Coming in for Pitt to serve, probably one of the best names in college volleyball, Cat Flood. Will come in and serve, the senior from Illinois.
Boy, I'm kind of questioning the serving strategy of Pitt, because the last 3 serves have gone right to the libero, Maddie May, for North Carolina, and she has been right on the money with her passing as she was Friday night. So not quite sure what the philosophy is there, going at Carolina's best passer, but we'll see if that continues. Obviously, Carolina will take that matchup every chance they get.
Marissa Meyerhofer, and she puts it into the net.
We call that 2 inches from an ace, Rob.
13-12. Good back and forth start here to this matchup on this Sunday afternoon. Both teams at the top of the ACC standings, albeit being early in the season. Oh, look out. Tori Stafford with authority.
Well, and it started with a great dig by Emma Klika. You know, she just took that off-speed ball, fed it right to the setter. We can run our tempo, get that one-on-one outside for Stafford. If she's one-on-one, watch out.
Babcock to serve, tied at 13. And she sends it deep, gives it right back to the Tar Heels.
And that's something we have to watch for both teams. Both teams have a variety of tough servers. You've got jump topspin servers on both teams, aggressive deep floaters. We've got some servers that can serve short, mix those in. You know, so which team's going to favor more aces and out-of-system passes versus service errors?
Out-of-system pass leads to the free ball kill. Mabry Schaffmaster getting her hands up there.
Yep. And again, this is the 4th time there's been an overpass kill by the Tar Heels. So, you know, Pitt's really got to focus on that first contact and limiting those opportunities.
It's interesting that when we got to talk to both coaches, Dan Fisher with Pitt, Mike Shaw with Carolina, and they both mentioned to us that the serve game is going to be important. Both of them like to make their teams uncomfortable. They almost said word for word the exact same thing, and we're seeing it early on here. The serving game is really making a difference.
Of course, and you know, that's something, it's not rhetoric. It's no matter what level of volleyball you're playing, you're top 10 program in the country in Division I, you're in a Power 5 conference, or you know, you're trying to win your junior high league. That first contact is always going to be important. It'll always be a you know, foundation of who's going to win or lose the match if you can control that first contact. So, but as you do get higher in level, it becomes even more important, because now you're talking about maybe a 2 or 3 point spread in that difference between aces and errors.
16-14 after Babick tried to get it over on the second attempt and put it into the net. Stafford with another serve. Babick will set it up here. Sadie Swift, and she'll get the kill. And we mentioned we were gonna focus on Sadie Swift because Coach Scholl made it a point to talk about her when we had our Zoom call with him a few days ago, and how impressed he is with Sadie Swift coming in again, just a sophomore.
Yeah, she was a little quiet on Friday night against Virginia offensively. You know, where she made her mark in that match, and her main contribution was her blocking and her net play. So if they can get her going offensively in this match, that's another wrinkle that hasn't shown itself on current film, you know, for Coach Fisher and his staff breaking down their scouting reports. So I'm sure they'd love to see Sadie get going offensively.
Coming into today, Swift had 50 kills, was hitting over 300, but she's 7th in the ACC at 1.2 blocks per set.
Yep.
Schaffmaster trying to go across court. The angle this time a little too much.
Yep. Right thought by Schaffmaster, just dropped her shoulder, ball got a little bit behind her head to be able to hit that shot well. No doubt she wants that back, and we'll probably see her go for that shot again.
That's something that Mabry's been working on. It's now her junior year. You know, a couple years ago, ACC Freshman of the Year. Was one of the leaders offensively and defensively for Carolina her sophomore year, and now in 2023 as an upperclassman, she's been mentioning how I'm always trying to find something different or trying to add something to her game.
Yeah, you know, you have a player like that that's well established. She already has a ton of tools. There's not a lot of polish, you know, to add, but she knows when she just misses opportunities like she did in the last swing, you know. When you think about the net presence, we talked about the top with Pitt and their blocking prowess, you know, Babcock's going to have to be really particular that she doesn't trap set her hitters. You know, that last slide set to Merkel was, you know, a little bit of a slide of a trap set, so she's got to be careful she's not sending her hitters into the block.
Back row send over there by Babcock. Here's Romani Thurman.
Wow. That had some sauce on it. I tell you know, that's her second kill. I think she's someone that we got to get a little more involved. If you're a Tar Heel fan, let's get our right side going. She was such a big contributor, leading the team in kills on Friday night.
The response, Vasquez Gomez.
Point, it looked like the Tar Heels just kind of stopped for a second. Like, how did that ball get through the block? You know, from our vantage point, it looked like a pretty good block, but sneak it through the seam and catching everyone off guard.
Just hit for hit, blow for blow. A lot of power on both sides of the net here in today's matchup. Right on cue, Schaffmaster trying to power through. Off the block attempt. Now they'll try Thurman. That's off the block attempt. They'll try Schaffmaster a third time and wide left.
But you've got to credit that point to Babcock in right front, number 5 for the Panthers. She made a great deny block on Schaffmaster's first attempt to go down the line. Schaffmaster then realized, I got to switch up my shot. I'm going to try to do something different, and forced an error. So that's just great blocking presence by Olivia Babcock.
Tied at 19 here in set 1. Schaffmaster finds the answer that time, her 5th K of the day.
And yet another look at how she can score. You know, this was a shot that was very effective for her on Friday night against Virginia, kind of that throw attack. You have to be really quick with your hands. You don't get called for a carry by the official, which is textbook right there, but that's been an effective shot for Schaffmaster.
Gomez powering through. And again, anytime North Carolina has something, Pitt has the response. Again, we just go back and forth. Entertaining way to start today.
Now, if you're an offensive fan, a volleyball offensive fan, this is a match you're loving so far.
Romani Thurman. Pitt will try the right side, dug up by Babbitt. Thurman again. Whistles blow, and a lift going to be called against the Tar Heels, and Pitt is back in front now.
I think Coach Shaw is going to have a conversation here. I don't think he agrees with that call. And watching it in real time, I was questioning that a bit myself, but you know, at this point in the match, it's still first set. Anytime there's a judgment call by the official, then you're making a note of that as a coach, you know, and as a player as well. And you're saying, okay, that's where you're setting the bar. That's what's going to be, you know, whistled. Now I'm going to keep you to that standard the rest of the match. So no doubt they're taking that inventory on the sideline for both staffs.
21-20. You take a look at some of the individual stats. Schaffmaster leading the way for Carolina, 5 kills, hitting .333. Vasquez Gomez, Stafford, and Babcock leading the way for the Panthers, each with 4 kills. So, all right, Coach Carlin, I'm going to put you in the huddle here. What's Shaw saying to his Tar Heels right now?
Well, you know, at this point in set 1, being at home against a really tough opponent, you have to like where you are. There's still some things we can clean up on our side. I think our setter-hitter connection can be a little bit better behind the setter, our right side offense. Can we get Thurman going a little more? And, you know, can we play defense long enough to extend rallies and not necessarily let Pitt score as much as they have off their first swing? You know, on the Pitt sideline, it's more, we've got some things we can clean up as well. let's take care of that first contact. Let's limit the overpasses. Can we get a little service pressure here? Maybe stay away from May, the libero, for the Tar Heels, and pick on someone else. If we're smart in how we approach these last couple of points, we'll probably be successful and come away with a set 1 win.
It's been a tight battle all the way through here in set 1. 21-20. Pitt back in front, coming out of the Carolina timeout. Imani Foster ties it up.
Boy, and that's so hard for Pitt because, you have an aggressive serve. You get them out of system. You can set up your defense to really defend this out-of-system swing on the left side. And Foster just gets her feet to the ball, gets a really great shot, high percentage, deep corner. That's just tough. Great point by Foster.
Tied at 19. We've been tied at 20. Now tied at 21. And back in front are the Panthers.
Boy, really smart design there out of serve receive. That's the first time so far in the match we've seen the back quick. You see Emma Monks just up and quick and threw that ball. And, at this point in the set, if you see something new out of serve receive, sometimes you can sneak in a kill that way.
First time we've called her name, Emma Monks, the graduate. Hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. Trying to go down the line and missing it was Babcock, and we're tied again.
Wow. Such a small margin for error. You're going for the outside hand, and you're talking about fractions of an inch between a tool kill, point for your team, and hitting it out of bounds. So no doubt Babcock wants that one back.
Both teams, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, both teams coming off of conference opening wins on Friday. And even though there were sweeps for both Carolina and Pitt, they were close. You look at Pitt, that 3-set win against Duke, it was 25-20, 30-28, and 25-22. Carolina had a couple of close sets as well with Virginia in their win on Friday. Pitt back in front.
Yeah, you talk about the scores, and that just, really illustrates the depth of parity in this league, even early in the season. And, if you're going to go up in the ACC standards, who's going to go down? That's always the challenge as we start the conference season here. And, starting at home, if you're North Carolina, that's a really good thing. Get your home crowd and that energy to help you. But, yeah, the back and forth so far is just indicative, Rob, of what we're going to see all year in the ACC.
Swift was called in the net there, and that's going to force Coach Shull to take a timeout, as it will be set point for Pitt. 24-22. Again, the largest lead by either team in this first set was 5-1 for Pitt.
Yeah, so far what you can really start to dissect is that setter-hitter connection, because both teams proven themselves to be good offensive squads, right? We saw that on Friday night. Both teams hitting over 250, over 300. So, they've got arms, and both teams have good net play, right? Particularly Pitt with the blocking prowess. So I think this match actually might come down to more of that setter-hitter connection, and which setter can establish a good tempo with multiple hitters and get their hitters in one-on-one situations a little bit more. Now, I would love to see the Tar Heels speed up their offense a little bit. Anytime when I was coaching, we'd play a team that had really good blockers. One thing you could focus on was, we don't want to get out of character, right? But can we do things a little bit quicker, maybe a little faster tempo, just to keep the blockers off balance, so we won't have solid double blocks at the pins, those sorts of things. So it'd be interesting to see if Carolina can do something a little bit different wrinkle, offensively here to try to manufacture some points.
We'll have to rattle off a handful here. Pitt looking at set point here in game number 1.
Let's see who Babcock goes after on the serve here. Pretty good passing rotation for the Tar Heels.
Went from May, she digs it up. Shaftmaster from the back row. Off of May, and her teammates aren't going to be able to get to it.
Talk
Another
about
kill.
A quick transition. Wow. It started with set, and I think that's what they learned from that experience.
Carolina hitting 257 in that first set, but Pitt was hitting 444. And Merkler, that set just a little too high.
Now, and, that's just one play, but it's something we need to track is when you're playing at this level with this kind of competition, that setter-hitter connection is huge. Can you get your hitters opportunities to swing assertively to keep the pressure on the defense? And that's something that it really falls in the setter's hands to be better.
From the back row, Imani Foster, 5th kill of the day. That's exactly what you need for Carolina here in set 2.
Yep. And it's something that, we haven't really seen a ton of with Foster. We see Schaffmaster coming out of the back row in those 2-hitter rotations, but we haven't seen Foster really get hot from back there, and that could be a wrinkle that will help the Tar Heels.
Cross court, that's in. Wow. Olivia Babcock.
Wow. Talk about 2 stud freshmen, that don't play like freshmen, right? I mean, both of these young ladies, and Stafford and Babcock, have just been playing at a very high level for Pitt.
Coach Dan Fisher told us this is probably the best freshman class I've ever had here at Pitt. And you look at the dynamic duo of Stafford and Babcock, both of them from California.
Yep.
And I asked Coach Fisher, where'd you find them? I mean, you guys are over here on the East. You go out to California and find these stud freshmen. And he said, believe it or not, it was right after we were in the Elite Eight, made an appearance. And I went out to California, saw some tape on Tori Stafford, went to one of her tournaments, and it just so happens Olivia Babcock was playing at that tournament, saw her and said, we need her as well. And he was able to bring both of them in.
And sometimes it works out that way as a recruiter. You're focusing on one prospect, and when you're watching that film or watching her live, someone else stands out to you from the other side of the net. And you can get those 2-for-1 deals, you take them all day.
Right on cue, Tori Stafford with another kill to tie it up at 3. The funny thing about Olivia Babcock, one last note on that trip that Coach Fisher took out west to find Stafford and Babcock at a tournament for their club volleyball team. He said not very many people knew about Olivia Babcock because in high school she was a soccer goalie.
Can you imagine that length in the soccer goal? I bet she was a very successful soccer goalie.
Not getting too much past her.
Nope.
Stafford going easy with the tap over. Schaffmaster with a soft response. We'll try Stafford once more, and another kill. She's starting to get hot here in set 2.
Yeah, and that's so deflating for North Carolina because you want to extend points, you want to extend rallies with great defense. They did that on the front end, and to have it just end with another kill by Stafford, it's a tough road to hoe. They're going to have to really roll up their sleeves and be in for that defensive battle all day.
Schaffmaster with the power.
Great counterpunch there by Schaffmaster. And that's what you want to see from your pin hitters. The other side is going to score. That's part of the game, especially if they're efficient, they're ranked high. You can expect that they're going to score their points, but so can we. How can we counterpunch with them? What's a smart play that we can run in transition to put our hitters in good situation? And Schaffmaster out of that bick or out of that pipe has been one of those go-tos for the Tar Heels so far this year.
We're only early on in set 2, but you can tell how hard both teams are playing because we're starting to see a little more quick delays. Got to wipe up the sweat. Bring in the towel. Court's getting a little moisture out there. These girls are working hard.
But it's not just the physical side, Rob, but it's also the mental. You're trying to focus in on your cues and, just the mental side of this and how you're playing and what you're watching is a key factor as well. And so, to have those little mini breaks, wiping the floor, coming together, having a little team huddle, that's all part of the equation to be able to sustain that high level. Great pass.
Foster denied. And there is that blocking game. Pitt so good in the ACC, 3rd best in the country, putting up a wall.
Well, and that's something that you see with Foster. She's had a lot of success just aiming high and blasting. but you have to be careful doing that against a Pitt block because they're so good with their length and their press. You really have to hit more angles.
Another one. Tori Stafford is feeling it here in set 2.
And how quick has Pitt been in transition when they've had positive block touches or, quote-unquote easy balls come their way? They run really quick transition, which stresses the block of the opponent, and we saw it there.
Stafford already up to 9 kills.
Wow.
Here today. Foster dug up. Meyerhofer keeping that alive. Foster denied again.
And I think you're starting to see here that, Foster just isn't as used to seeing this type of block, and that's something she has to start to get used to as this match goes on.
4-0, number 8 team in the country. Pitt in front of North Carolina here in set 2. Rob Connick, Corey Carlin, and the rest of our crew back with you inside Carmichael Arena on this Sunday afternoon. And Corey, Carolina, they're starting to struggle to find an answer to Tori Stafford, who has just been racking up the kills early on here in game number 2.
Yeah, it's really a two-part story. One is Stafford and the offense for Pitt, how we slow that down a little bit, which is not easy to do. But then also the block of the Panthers, right? 3 of the last 4 or 5 points that they've scored have been stuff blocks or denying the ball. And so I think the Tar Heels have to just be mindful of that block and hit a little bit better shots to test the block high hands or cut around it if you can and not just hit into it.
Right on cue. Tori Stafford, kill number 10.
Boy, put yourself in Maddie May's shoes where, the block seems to be there. You've got all this court to cover, and wow, just the pace from the freshman is so high. You see why she's so effective.
Schaffmaster trying to get things going, got out of the way of it. Tooling the blockers. What a move there by the junior to get out of the way, make sure she didn't touch it.
And you see the Pitt Panthers are saying, I think that touched her on the way down.
It's going to be a good angle right here.
Oh.
Yeah, good move.
Yep.
And she waved the hand. I didn't touch that one. That fell out.
Good reaction there by Schaffmaster. Yep. I think we have a challenge here.
Yeah, I think Coach Dan Fisher is going to challenge that. But I think once he sees what we just saw from our camera guys.
Yeah, you think about where you are in the match, and if you're Coach Fisher, why not? I mean, you're trying to extend any opportunity you can for a lead, and keep this run going. And, if you can get a touch off of this, great, but it also gives you kind of that mini timeout. On that second replay, Rob, maybe it grazes the thigh, the left thigh. Right there. That's close.
That's very close.
Yeah, that's a lot closer on that look than in real time. You ask us in real time, I would have said that it cleared her, no touch, but how we look at that angle a little bit slower.
on Shaftmaster, which
Right.
going into this season, that's what Coach Schultz said. Obviously, she's one of our key components. But Lauren want to spread the love a little bit on offense. Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, for sure. So that point will go to the Tar Heels. But yeah, you know, if you're trying to establish some offensive rhythm against a team that is a really aggressive and good blocking team, one of the things that you want to try to do is get one-on-one matchups as much as you can. And a way to do that, if you're passing well, is to set more middles in three-hitter rotations. You know, get them one-on-one against a single middle blocker, see if they can score on those angles.
Zoe Barrett has checked in. She gets the serve for Carolina. They trail by 3.
Good get by Shaftmaster. Oh, there's that connection we talked about.
Off the fingertips of Barrett. The kill for Vasquez Gomez.
Yeah, I like that decision by Babcock going to Merkler there. She just couldn't quite get a good swing on the ball. So, you know, the decisions there, we just need to execute a little bit better because, again, anything off speed or anything that's not a full swing against this Panther defense, right now they're kind of transitioning and scoring at will.
Rare serving error there by Pitt.
And here comes Thurman back in. You know,
Yeah.
this is another key to this, you know, engine for the Tar Heels to keep it running. Can we get Thurman going now?
It's been a little quiet since middle stages of set 1.
Whoa, yeah.
And an easy call. Double hit.
Boy, and Coach Fisher is questioning just the consistency and how we're judging things. You know, he's pointing, saying, hey, earlier you let one go for Carolina that was similar. That's something that coaches definitely track.
10-8 here in set 2. Look out. May, can she get to it? Try to keep it alive. High into the corner.
Wow.
We got to give credit to the effort, though, both by Maddie May and Monty Foster. Went well deep into the gym.
Just the pace. I mean, this is a back row attack that's coming at you like a front row attack. I mean, Babcock is so athletic. She's so long. She can go and get that ball about 5 feet off the net. And, boy, that's just tough on the defense. Love the effort, but that's a tough ball to run down.
Tied at the net. Carolina keeps it alive. Foster will send it over. Vasquez Gomez rips it right off of Anita Babick for the kill.
Yeah, such a tough spot. I mean, you know, you don't want to give Pitt any free balls. That's the last opportunity. But, you know, North Carolina really couldn't help it in that situation. Yeah, just really tough spot for your defense when you give a team like Pitt free balls.
Foster denied again. Another block for Pitt. That is number 6 in this match. And Carolina's going to take a timeout as Pitt leads it 13-8. Let's get another look at another block. We knew coming in, Corey, it's no secret to anyone in the ACC that they are one of the best teams, not just in the conference, but in the country when it comes to putting up the wall.
Well, and when you look at that last replay, their blockers do such a great job of being patient. They read their cues, right? You saw all 3 blockers. First, they were kind of in a spread. They were looking for, you know, the 3-hitter rotation that they're seeing. You've got Thurman up there and Meckler and Shaftmaster. But then they all recovered to come in and present a triple block against Foster out of the pick. So that, again, goes back to tempo. If you're seeing a consistent triple block against a back row attack, that tells you we have to start doing something faster in the front court to get those blockers to spread and make that a little bit more difficult of a play. You know, so you can't change your identity. You can't switch your offense completely, but can North Carolina do something a little faster tempo in the front court to maybe create a few more seams so it's not as easy for that block to key on the hitters for the Tar Heels?
And you can tell, you can see it, whether it's Shaftmaster or Foster or whoever it is swinging, trying to get creative, because you're not just going to be able to power through the blockers every single time. You're trying to, you know, rainbow shot, send it into the corner. And it's just a fact that Pitt's defense is just really good. Sometimes you can't find an answer.
Well, and yeah, that's when patience has to really set in. You know, you have to anticipate long rallies. You're not going to score easy. You have to have that mindset as an attacker, but you got to keep staying assertive. That is the key.
Tar Heels down by 5. And now 6.
Wow.
As I believe Schaffmaster put that into the net. Make it 14-8. And the other thing, Corey, is Coach Scholl throughout this season has said we want to pack Carmichael Arena. We want a great atmosphere. That's one of our goals as he takes over as head coach of this program. And right now, like just after that swing into the net, it gets a little quiet here in Carmichael. Like you can tell the fans are wanting to get crazy about something, and the girls are trying to get them something. But man, Pitt is just so tough from all angles.
Well, right now, Pitt is dominating the transition offensive game, right? The longer the rally goes, it's favored Pitt. They've had more quality swings and execution on that third, fourth swing sometimes, right? And so that's a factor. But you're right. I mean, if you want to get this crowd going, you need something positive to happen that you control. You need a kill, a stuff block, an ace. Just keep working for those opportunities. And when you get one, this crowd will get right back into it.
Another block. Schaffmaster is denied. It's now 16-8. Pitt starting to pull away here in set 2 on a 6-0 run.
One thing you need to watch is the effort for covering your attacker. I think the last 2 blocks that Pitt had on Schaffmaster, those balls could have been covered a little bit better.
And we talked about trying to get creative. Merkler going easy, a rainbow shot, finding the floor.
Yeah, they haven't seen too many short tips yet from Carolina. Those can be woven in there smartly, just to keep them off balance. Good awareness by Merkler.
Schaffmaster to serve. Tied at the net. Whistles blow, and Pitt is in the net. Point to Carolina.
Boy, for Carolina to get back into this set and just get some momentum, it's got to start from the service line and being much more assertive defensively. If you're a blocker, make your moves a little more dynamic. Hold your press a little bit longer. That's how we can show them we're going to compete. Wow.
Schaffmaster with an ace on the high top. That'll get her teammates in this crowd going.
Exactly what the Tar Heels needed, for sure. Wow, what a rocket.
A few weeks ago, Corey, Mabry Schaffmaster took over the UNC Volleyball Instagram account. And she was getting some Q&A, people could submit questions to her and she would answer it on the UNC Volleyball Instagram account. And somebody asked her, what's the fastest serve you've had? And she responded, 57 miles per hour. that one on that last ace might have come close to that.
Yeah, you think about a car going that fast down the highway, I wouldn't want to try to pass that. So, yeah.
Not as fast on that attack there. May keeps it alive. Schaffmaster off the block attempt, which falls out. Credit the kill for the junior. She now has 9. And the crowd starting to get back into it here in set 2.
Well, and you've seen 2 things from North Carolina in the last handful of points with service pressure and just playing a little more assertive defense. Just keep the ball alive and good things can happen. Things can start to go your way if you can extend rallies.
Ricochets off of Babick. Oh, good play there for the Tar Heels to keep it alive. And then the response, Olivia Babcock finds the open floor.
Well, you can look at that 2 ways, right? On the one side, it's a little deflating that, the point ends like that. But on the other side, we extended the point, right? We didn't let Stafford score easily. We're playing a little tougher defense, and that's the mindset you have to have if you're going to work your way back into this set.
Cat Flood with the serve. Foster.
Good swing by Foster.
Stafford dug up by Schaffmaster.
Wow.
Pancake by Babick. Foster. And again, Pitt saying no. That is block number 8.
Well, and this is something that you've got to play complementary volleyball here. I think Schaffmaster is making some really good adjustments in her reads defensively against Stafford. She's starting to, understand a little bit more where she's hitting. But the longer the rally goes, you have to be smart as an attacker in how you finish it. We can't just swing aggressively down into the block.
Romani Thurman with a kill.
That's an example right there, Rob, of swinging smartly against the block. If you go high hands, especially the outside hand, you're probably going to have a lot of success. You know, that's a great look at that swing by Thurman. But if it's out of system at all, if it's high set at all, you have to expect that block to be there, and you have to go at it smartly. Great execution there by Thurman.
Pitt up by 6 here in set 2.
Tight set.
Trying to go across court, dug up in the front court by Foster. And Carolina with their second block of the day.
Wow, great play at the net by the Tar Heels. Closing that seam, that ball's a little underset. Good execution by the block, but let's go back to the shot by Foster. If you think about it, she's been shut down a couple times by that block, and she made a really smart play. If you're a young volleyball player watching this, if you get blocked a lot, one smart shot to go back to get in rhythm is make this setter play the ball. Tip or roll the ball to the setter, take her out of the offense on the other side, and get yourself back in rhythm.
Back-to-back points for the Tar Heels. They're back within 4.
Yep. Crowd's starting to get back in it. This is the energy you want in Carmichael. See if they can ride this wave for another few points here.
Foster finds some room.
Boy, and she owes Sadie Swift a cookie or something, because Sadie held that block perfectly, creating that one-on-one situation out there for Foster for her to put that ball away. You know, if you're a middle hitter, you got to transition hard every time, just like right there, holding that middle blocker, creating that seam for your pin hitter teammates. That's how they can be in scoring opportunities against this big block. You know, and I'm going to go back to one other point, Rob. If you look at the beginning of that play, Schaffmaster made a great defensive play against Stafford. I think she's really getting into a zone, recognizing where Stafford likes to go with the ball, and she's been making some plays defensively, which has really turned the tide here.
Trying to get her teammates into position, and that was all around. Great pass, great setup, and going back to the swing. We've seen Schaffmaster do it a couple times, and now Foster, her body is angled one way to fool the blockers, and then at the last second, just direct right. I mean, complete different angle. That takes a lot of talent and a lot of skill, and she's effective there to get Carolina back within 3 and force this timeout called by Coach Dan Fisher and the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, if you're North Carolina, you've got to look for those point scoring opportunities and execute when they present themselves. If you're Pitt, it's more about, okay, North Carolina is starting to key in a little bit better defensively in what we're doing. So maybe we need to pepper the court a little bit more, go for some different variety in our shots just to keep it mixed, you know, mix in different looks offensively for these next few points, just so it's not so easy for the Tar Heels to transition. But, you know, you got to stay assertive with your service pressure and your defense right now if you're Carolina.
19-16, 4-0 run for the Tar Heels. That's wide right. Stafford missed it, and the Tar Heels back within 2.
Really interesting here, Rob. How is Stafford going to respond? She's been dug a few times. It hasn't been as easy for her to score as it was in the first set, these last 5 or 6 swings. Good up by May.
Quick attack there by Wokolo.
Wow.
Schaffmaster with the roll. And the block, Amani Foster.
Wow.
1-point game.
That's how you need to work if you're North Carolina. So many great plays within that rally, you know, and smart offense to back it up. But look at the net play, the extension there by Foster. She gets there with her feet and times her block extremely well. You know, you think about what's happened, Rob, the last few points for North Carolina, and they have taken things away from Stafford and Babcock that previously have been easy for them to score. And now North Carolina's saying, no, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. We're going to step up our defense and our block and make you do something different. Very smart play from the Tar Heels.
Is it as simple as Carolina's just getting quicker on defense, getting to the side of the net they need to get to try to stop those balls from Pitt?
Yeah, I mean, it's really about that assertive dynamicism. You know, how quick can you go and make your move and be dynamic just to match what you're seeing, you know, across the net. That's one, but also the backcourt reads. I mean, think about what May did in that rally. She made 2 great saves that earlier, you know, those balls were scoring. And so I think picking up that defensive intensity has been a key factor in this run for North Carolina.
On the other side, Pitt has seen Carolina claw their way back here, 6 straight points. Coach Dan Fisher chatting with his players. What's he saying right there in the huddle?
Hey, you know, guys, let's take a breath here. Let's realize that they're raising their level. We don't have to do anything necessarily, you know, drastically different. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's just pay attention to what's going on. They're raising their level, which means expect longer rallies. Okay? When we take a great swing, don't automatically assume that's going to score.
Yeah.
Right? Let's cover our hitters. Let's pay attention to that. They've blocked. Carolina's had a few stuff blocks in the last few points. Make sure our coverage is there. You know, and then it's just about getting back into our rhythm. You know, if you're North Carolina, it's a combination of keeping our defensive intensity high, but then also being smart about where we are right now and what we see on the other side. In other words, if we can't get an aggressive swing to clear the block, i.e. you're out of system, go ahead and make the setter play it. Make that ball go to right back, you know, tip it, throw it, roll it. That last roll shot we saw from Schaffmaster out of the back court, I think if that ball was a little more toward right back to make the setter play it, I think that would have been even better. You know, you don't want the libero to take those balls if you can avoid that. But if we're smart in what we're doing offensively, I think we can continue to ride this wave and maybe get the lead here.
So it was not actually a timeout by Pitt. It was a challenge by Coach Dan Fisher, and they have overturned the call, saying Carolina was actually in the net on that last point.
Wow.
We'll see if we can get another look at that at some point, but now that changes things. It's now 20-17. And that stops a big run by the Tar Heels.
That's a big swing.
Can they respond? Now Foster denied again.
You know, good pass by May. I just wonder about the tempo. You know, that's a pretty high tempo in a 2-hitter rotation where you can expect a solid double block out there on Foster, and that's putting a little extra pressure on her to manufacture a point.
Stafford putting it down.
Wow.
And all that momentum was that on the side of the Tar Heels is right back to the Panthers.
Well, and Pitt's been really great about this all night. Just the quick transition. If they get a good quality contact on the first defensive play, you know, they're going to come out and transition really quick. And so it's going to stress the recovery of the blockers for North Carolina to be able to adjust to that tempo.
One wide right, Sophie Hampton, who has checked in for the Tar Heels for the first time today. Sends that long, and now Pitt 2 points away from taking this second set.
Sophie looked really good on Friday against Virginia, you know, coming in as a freshman, but she looked very comfortable on that stage. Another opportunity.
Hampton will try it again. They're really getting Hampton involved. Now they'll try Swift on the other side. Back to Swift again. Block number 10 for the Panthers.
Wow. You know, I would love to qualify this stat, but just the sense that you get from watching this match is anything that is high out of system for North Carolina has resulted in probably a block or at least a positive touch by the Pitt block. You know, and that's putting a lot of pressure on the attackers for North Carolina. But again, is there anything we can do to speed up our offense?
Babic tried to attack it, put it into the net, and that will end set 2. Corey, Pittsburgh game, and they are holding North Carolina to that hit percentage of just 113 as we start set number 3 as Schaffmaster puts it into the net to get things going here in this third game. Schaffmaster, May, Foster, Merkler, Babic, and Thurman. 6 Tar Heels on the floor.
Great pass.
Foster, too much. And again, you can tell with Foster, with Schaffmaster, with Merkler, everyone who's taken a swing for Carolina, just trying to find something. All right, we can't power it through their blockers. Obviously, they have 10.5 blocks. Trying the rainbow shot, they're digging that up. Trying to go across court. I mean, trying to get creative against this Pitt defense is tough.
Yeah, it puts so much pressure on your attackers to stay assertive, but also to pepper the court and try to find any weak spots that might be out there. You know, boy, a rare miss by May. And right away, hey guys, my bad, I got it. I'm actually surprised that Pitt has served May as much as they have in this match.
That one's through. Romani Thurman saying, all right, let's try to power it through, see what happens. And the freshman racking up another kill, her 6th.
And you watch her technique and her shoulder load, her draw is kind of low. That's a little bit more difficult for the blockers to see in time against an attacker like that, so it favors Furman all the time.
Big, quick swing, and Emma Monks. We haven't really said her name a lot here today, but she's getting things going here in set 3.
Well, and if you're Coach Fisher, you'd love to see a little more balance. You know, Stafford and Babcock have established themselves, you know, coming into this match and even tonight. Can we get a third, fourth attacker going and use that momentum heading into next week, assuming we can take care of business here tonight?
Wow. One arm save there by Flood. Keeping alive with the block. Sadie Swift teaming up with Romani Thurman.
And that has been her strength, Rob. You know, we talk about the offense, but I'm really impressed with Sadie Swift's defense and her blocking prowess. You know, we've seen it a few times already tonight, but that was a great example there of tracking your hitter, presenting your block, making a play for your defense.
Top 10 blocker in the ACC coming into today, and on Friday in that win against Virginia, Swift had 9 rejections to help Tar Heels get that win.
Well, already you're seeing a concerted effort to get the middles a little more involved here offensively by Pitt, which is a smart strategy, but if the Tar Heels keep their run, I think we're going to see Stafford get set again pretty quickly.
Big swing, May with the dig. Foster gets it back in play. Good recovery there for the Heels. That one's down.
Wow.
Olivia Babcock taking advantage of the fact that Carolina was out of system, just trying to hurry back on defense.
Yep, and I love that Fairbanks went right back to her. You know, anytime you have an attacker that gets dug easily or, you know, isn't scoring, and you go right back to her, give another opportunity, have her hit a different shot.
Joust at the net. That one missed. Meyerhofer watched it fly past her. Give the point to the Tar Heels.
Yeah, going for the line, going for that outside hand, just missed about 6 inches. Right idea, just didn't quite execute. Great touch off the block there, giving the defense a chance.
That's in the net, and we are tied at 5.
Well, we saw that a little bit in set 2, Rob, but Babcock is so effective as an attacker. They leave her in for 6 rotations. They set her out of that jack or out of the right back as though she's a front row attacker. So for all intents and purposes, you've got 3 attackers coming at you in this 5-1 for Pitt. All 3 are tough to defend.
Foster with a big swing.
What a rocket by Foster.
Tar Heels in front, 6-5, as Amani Foster gets her 7th kill of the day.
Well, and you look at what happened when Swift started to go behind the setter. She was going at a quick tempo, which drew that left front blocker, which gave Foster that angle to hit. She stayed assertive and was able to get a kill, but you got to credit the middle for holding that blocker.
Easy block, Sadie Swift. Tar Heels had just 2 blocks total through the first 2 sets. They now have 2 early on here in set 3.
Yep, first time we saw Stafford kind of go for that off-speed tip. I think the next swing will be a little more assertive from her, but again, we're calling Swift's name a lot as a blocker. She's definitely bringing that to her team tonight.
You saw the stats there. 3 kills, 4 blocks for Sadie Swift, sophomore from Austin, Texas. Carolina up by 2. Oh man, what a swing. Chiamaka Wakalo.
Yep, and you basically, you've got Stafford swinging out on the right side there. Bring the middle in for a quick, try to get her one-on-one. Smart play design by Pitt.
Fun fact about Wakalo. She was, after her senior year, gonna go to law school at Pitt. Then she realized, I have my 5th year of eligibility. Might as well use it. I like this volleyball program. She's been a great asset to the Panthers, so she came back for a 5th year. But someday, that number 20 right there is going to be a lawyer, and a really good one in the Pennsylvania area.
For sure. If she can block litigation like she does, attacks from the opponent, she's going to be a stellar attorney.
Foster bringing the boom.
Boy, you just wonder if Coach Shaw had some words with Monty Foster coming out of that break. She looks like a different player here in set 3.
8 kills, now hitting above 0 for the first time today. And a response from Pitt.
Yeah, we haven't called Blair Bayless's name very often, but good swing there by the freshman.
Another freshman for Pitt.
Part of that top 8 recruiting class coming into the season.
Schaffmaster just missed the line.
Well, talk about just missing, maybe by an inch or 2. She definitely wants that one back, but still in good shape. Still got a 1-point lead. We got this lead, if you're a Tar Heel fan, by staying assertive and trusting your coverage.
Merkler coming alive.
And much better tempo there, Rob. I mean, if you're taking inventory, that's probably one of the faster slides that the Tar Heels have set in the match. It wasn't a shoot slide or first tempo, but it was a little bit quicker. And you're going to beat the block a little bit more if you can have that kind of tempo.
She had the nickname the Mayor. She went to high school right here in Chapel Hill. Merkler has definitely been a big part of this program for the last handful of years. Senior here in 2023. And it's a good mix. When you look at this roster for the Tar Heels, a great mix of seasoned veterans like Merkler and Schaffmaster. Bring in a couple of transfers like Amani Foster. Bring in some freshmen as well. It's been a great, big mix, a mixing pot, if you will, for Coach Shaw in his first year as head coach.
Well, for sure. If you want to get to that elite level and really climb that ladder in the ACC, you need talent, of course. You also need good leadership. You need good locker room culture, and that starts with folks who've been here. Right? People who've been around the block, they understand what it means to put on that Carolina blue, and you have that on this team. And so, the sooner that they can really gel into their roles and have that consistent execution as a group, then they can get to that next level, and that's what Coach Shaw is looking for.
(11-10) after that service error by Schaffmaster. Vasquez Gomez will serve for Pitt. 11-10 here in set 3. Overpass and an easy free ball kill. Tori Stafford now up to 13 on the afternoon.
And again, want to see where Vasquez Gomez is targeting. You know, she came into the weekend leading the Panthers in aces by a large margin. She came into this weekend with 16 aces on the young season, and we're seeing her serving prowess right now.
Oh, what a swing. Olivia Babcock.
So impressive with the net play for the Panthers. I mean, there's been some kind of hop and pop plays, quick transition, you know, ball high off the block that comes back over, and the Panthers have just handled those situations so well.
Pitt back in front. I feel like we're back in set one when it was back and forth the entire way. If you're just joining us, Pitt with a 2-0 advantage here in the match. They took the first set 25-22. Carolina went on a 6-0 run to get back within 2 late in set 2, and then Pitt was able to hold off 25-17. But in both games so far, Carolina's been right there, just not able to close it out. And now Pitt with an opportunity to close out the match.
Yeah, it's the first thing you have to do if you want to be in that conversation with the elite programs in this country is to play these situations well and be in matches at the end of sets, right? That doesn't mean you have to play perfect, but you have to play consistently enough and execute at that high level, not have any bad errors, right? And stay assertive in these moments and attack smartly. And I think this is a good test for Carolina because you mentioned some of those younger players, right? Those younger players are having prominent roles. We're seeing what Thurman's doing. You know, we're already seeing Hampton work her way in as kind of that first person off the bench. And so that's an important role. You know, if these freshmen can be in these situations and feel what it's like to execute at this level, that's going to bear a lot of fruit later, right? So if you're a Carolina fan, we're seeing some positive things here, but you got to remember Pitt has been there. They've been, you know, in the Final Four, and, you know, to compete against a quality opponent like this on your home court is step number one. You know, then step number two is, okay, let's win a set. you know, let's string together some points and get some victories here, or make Pitt do something differently. Whether that's our service pressures getting them out of system, you know, we're keying on some of their key attackers, so maybe it's not as easy for Babcock and Stafford to score. They have to do something differently, but you want to try to force a quality opponent, if you can, into getting a little bit away from their identity. Because if you can do that, then you can check that box, and now you've got that respect.
So there was confusion by the line judge and the head referee. They had a discussion. Initially, it was ruled a Pitt point. Then they overturned it. So off the Pitt block attempt, did Thurman touch that before it went out of play?
So the line judge is calling touch.
And then after she called touch, then she ruled it out. So that's what caused the discussion. They overrule it, say it's North Carolina point, and now Coach Dan Fisher is challenging it. So if you get another look at that replay, there's a swing by Carolina off the Pitt block attempt. Was it then touched again by Carolina before it went out of play? That is what they are looking at here. And this is going to be a big call. So Safi Hampton with the swing off the Pitt block attempt. Did Thurman touch it right there?
Boy, yeah.
Oh.
I think that index finger was a micro touch right there.
And if that's the case, then it would be Pitt point.
And even though you might look at that replay and say that was right in front of the R1, the up official, he's looking right down at it. But, you know, that's also a difficult thing because the hand was under the ball. So, yep, looks like.
You see, yeah, the referee explaining it to Coach Shull said, yep, it touched Thurman's fingertip.
That's all it takes.
So the point does indeed go to the Panthers. It's now 14-11 here in set 3.
Wow.
That one was touched by Thurman, and it's a kill.
Wow. Boy, what a great matchup Thurman has against Monks. Even though Monks is 6'4" with great length, Thurman has just scored against her when she's been on that left front position.
Wide right with the swing is Stafford. Carolina back within one. And again, we've had incredible set 1, set 2, and now here in set 3 as well. Tight battles all day long.
Yep. And you start to wonder at some point when the volume of swings are going to take its toll with Stafford and Babcock.
Ricochets off a couple of Panthers. Swift with the block.
You know, we talked earlier about getting the middles a little more involved, having more balance, but when you look at the stats right now, you've got Stafford has 32 attempts. Babcock has 23 attempts in the match. The next closest has 10. So you've got two players that are accounting for over 50 attempts from your team.
Another one, another swing there. Stafford getting another kill, her 14th. 15-14, that takes us to a media timeout. Back in a moment here inside Carmichael Arena. Avoid the sweep here against number 8 Pittsburgh. Rob Connick, Corey Carlin, Lauren George, Evan Badler, the rest of our ACC crew. Thanks for being with us here on this Sunday afternoon. As another tight battle here. Carolina starting to get a little more creative on the offensive side. They have held Pitt to no blocks so far here in set 3.
They made a great adjustment offensively and the types of shots that they're hitting. And, you know, Pitt's a little out of sorts right now. And, you know, just to piggyback a point earlier, Rob, you look at the set distribution and number of attempts between Stafford and Babcock versus the rest of the Panthers. And, you know, you've got 55 attempts, 56 attempts between those two players alone. And that's a lot of volume for two freshmen, you know, to take. And so I'm sure if you're Coach Fisher, you'd love to see some other people step up offensively, take a little pressure off of those two so we can have them fresh down the road later in the season. But to continue with this volume, you know, that's going to be a tough thing to put on the shoulders of freshmen for the next 2 months.
Another kill for Babcock, as they said Carolina touched it. Coach Shaw, he thought about it. He's not going to challenge. 16-15. But yeah, you bring up a good point, Corey. As good as the freshmen are for Pitt, Stafford and Babcock, obviously we've been talking about them all season long. Freshman for North Carolina, Sophie Hampton getting the kill. And that is something that Coach Shaw is working on. He says, hey, we have such a deep roster. We want to try to get everyone involved. Sophie Hampton subbing in here in set 3, making a difference. And a lot of young players. We mentioned the freshman for Pitt, but Carolina has a lot of role players that are freshmen as well, including Sophie Hampton.
Yeah, and she did super well on Friday night. You know, 2 aces, she had a handful of kills, really came in and established herself as that freshman off the bench that can handle this stage. You know, she's not afraid of showing what she can do against an ACC opponent, and she's even executed well tonight. So it bodes well for the future for the Tar Heels that you have some younger players who can step into those spots.
Dug up by Meyerhofer at the net. Schaffmaster.
Like such a great wipe shot as an attacker. You know, that ball was a little tight, but really smart play, just wiping the block, seeing the hands, great vision. Yep, good score by Schaffmaster.
Her 10th kill of the day gives Carolina a 1-point lead.
Good deny block there.
Another rip for Tori Stafford.
But again, extending the rallies for the Tar Heels at this point in the match, that's what you want to do. You know, if we can get this to a 3rd, 4th, 5th transition in the rally, that should favor North Carolina. Good up by Stafford.
Gomez off of May.
how impressive is the transition offense from the Panthers? So many kills are getting scored in transition, and man, it stresses your recovery as a blocker, as a backcourt defender for the Tar Heels. Can we get back to base quickly and reset? Because again, that transition offense for Pitt is spot on.
18-17, Pitt looking to close it out here in 3 straight sets, which has kind of been a theme for the Panthers here in 2023, Corey. 8 of their wins have come in 3 straight sets.
Well, that goes back to great recruiting and great coaching. You think about the quality of opponents they've swept as well, and what that tells you is when they get a lead, they're extremely difficult to beat. And so, if you're scouting Pitt and you're trying to figure out, where's the chink in the armor? Okay, we want to serve tough. We want to, assert ourselves as the net presence. We want to be aware of their block. All those things are great, but you also have to account for that this team can beat you in different ways. We talked about the freshmen and the workload they have offensively, which is something I think Coach Fisher would like to balance out as we get deeper into the season. But, when we called Monk's name, she has scored. When we called Bayless's name, she scored. They do have some other weapons and other tools, but they're just so tough across the board between their defense and their offense. Their transition swinging. They do well out of system. They don't really have many weak points.
You might have seen in that graphic, Boston College, of all teams in the ACC, leads the conference with 10 sweeps this year. And you think, Boston College, right? You don't even really think of BC when it comes to ACC volleyball, but that kind of goes to the point that Coach Mike Scholl mentioned when we talked with him earlier this week is the ACC this year. Yeah, we got Pitt and Louisville and Georgia Tech there in the rankings, but this conference in 2023 is so deep. The depth is so significant. He said, in my opinion, there should be about 5 or 6 ACC teams that could be ranked in the top 25 right now.
Oh, 100%. The league has gotten stronger. You've seen a few coaches come in, establish themselves. Recruiting has been a part of the bread and butter for this league for a long time. We're seeing a lot of young talent come in. You talk about the freshmen tonight, on the court with, in this match. But looking across the league, there's just been an influx of great young talent, and it's going to be a really tough league this year for sure.
And that's why I know some fans hear it and they're like, oh, it's such a cliche. You being a former coach as well, saying we're taking it one match at a time. We're going to take it one match at a time. We're not looking past our next opponent. But really, this year in the ACC, that's really the mindset that every team needs to have. Is because if you're looking ahead to maybe an opponent down the road and not the next one that you have, you might slip up because that's how strong the ACC is this year. Is anyone could beat anybody.
100%. That's one of the main differences when you talk about kind of that power league status. There's no easy wins. If you can't look at your conference schedule and, kind of quote unquote circle a win, right? Oh, when we go there, we know we've got that one. They come here, we know we've got that one. If you can't do that, then there's a lot of parity and a lot of depth. And you're seeing that in the ACC. And it goes back to a point we made earlier. If you're going to move up in these standings, who's going to go down? Because it's so tough night in and night out.
With how deep it is, there, as you see there on your screen, there has been a little consistency, at least at the top, with these Pitt Panthers and Louisville. North Carolina sneaking in there, winning the conference title back in 2016, but really it has been Louisville and Pitt year in and year out for about the last 6 years.
They've been the pace setters for sure. To the point of the parity, what you're seeing is the rest of the teams in the league are raising their level and closing that gap. So, if we fast forward the clock with these younger players coming in, the talent level rising a bit across the league, I think you're going to see some teams start to challenge Pitt and Louisville a little bit more, even this year.
Duke, one of those teams that really comes to mind.
Yep.
Even though Pitt swept them, we saw how much of a challenge the Blue Devils gave these Panthers on Friday night. 25-20, 30-28, 25-22. There's no cakewalk for Pitt, and that's a Duke team that's now 9-3 on the season.
Yeah, there's so many quality records coming into conference play within the ACC. You know, they prepared them well for what they're going to see in conference. You know, and it's going to be a battle, you know, week in and week out. You know, who can stay healthy? That's always a factor. You know, can the younger players start to establish themselves in execution, bringing a little bit more week in and week out? We see that growth. You know, those are all pieces to this puzzle, but such a strong league this year.
Pitt trying to close it out and get their 9th 3-set win of the year. They're just a few points away. That's going to be a lift. And it's now 23-17. And again, each set here today, Carolina, when you're looking at the teams in the middle of the set, Carolina's been right there. But Pitt, showing why they're one of the top teams in the nation, they just had that little extra something to be able to pull away in each game.
Now, what you're seeing from both teams is both teams are executing fairly well with what they do, but Pitt's just a little bit better. You know, and I go back to that transition offense. I think that's one area where there is some gap between these two teams. I think Pitt is just that much sharper in their transition offense and what they run and how quickly they do it. And it goes back to their quality of touches, right? And that's something that I think the Tar Heels can learn from and grow from when they watch this tape.
Shaftmaster pushes it through to keep this match alive. At least one more point. 24-18. Zoe Barrett, another freshman on this Carolina roster, comes in to serve. Shaftmaster and Merkler. And not so fast. We don't want this to end just quite yet. And Coach Dan Fisher is going to take a timeout.
No
Gave
doubt.
off 2 match points.
No doubt Coach Fisher wants to finish this strong, right? Obviously, you're in the catbird seat. You're in the driver's seat. You want to finish this strong. You don't want to have it end with us taking our foot off the gas or a couple of miscommunications, right? Because you get the win, but you don't feel great about how you finished. And when you start talking about being in the top 10 conversation and you want to be that kind of a program, this is a moment where you've got to put this match away. You know, on the other sideline, if you're Coach Shaw, it's about just clawing out a couple more points. You know, can we extend this a little bit? Because we're going to be in this situation again in this league where maybe we're down by 4 or 5 set points or even match points. And can we, you know, swing that momentum back in our favor and have that experience?
After today, Carolina will hit the road next weekend, head down to the Sunshine State, Florida State, and Miami, and then they're back at home here in Carmichael Arena on Friday, October 6th against another top team when the Louisville Cardinals come into town.
Well, and if you're going to play them the first crack out of the gate in conference play, you'd prefer it to be at home. And you hope that you continue to have this kind of crowd support and energy in that match as well, which just really helps the Tar Heels.
Carolina needs to rattle off a few more points to keep this match alive. 24-19. Oh my goodness, look out. What other way to end it? Tori Stafford comes flying in for her 16th kill to end